Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all of your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. So we are going to dig into something a little tricky here because I know a lot of people like to make this a political issue, a left-right issue, and I don't think it is that. I truly believe, at least from all the people I talk to and my friends who are all over the political map, so to speak, we're all in agreement that this is the type of thing that has to stop. This is the thing that causes problems. This is the type of thing that divides people. And most people who would identify as liberal or Democrat or conservative or Republican are against this. They do not like this. They want to get away from this. They want to get back to Martin Luther King's content of your character and stop with the nonsense about gender and skin color and all that, and just hire the best people. Let's have discussions about the best people. But no, we got to dig into this nonsense. As you can see here, Roberta Rodriguez, who is supposedly a reporter who has blocked me a long time ago, who spouted nonsense about Noelle Quinn, I believe, last year with the whole issues that were going on with that locker room, just continually gets things wrong, makes it all about the wrong things. And as you can see here, that is happening again. It's not safe for women coaches out there in the WNBA. Of all the recent head coaches fired, most were women. Well, most of the coaches were women. Noelle Quinn, Sandy Brundell, Latricia Trammell, Teresa Weatherspoon, Tanisha Wright, Christy Sides. On the other hand, 5 male coaches were hired in 2025. But as this first commenter says, maybe you shouldn't be a reporter, period. How about that? You're irresponsible and disrespectful. And again, this goes back to a lot of people know Roberta from a whole lot of other stuff that she has reported in the past. And this is a campaign thing. And when I don't mean political campaign, I mean this is a campaign, a narrative from the media because of how they want to treat the WNBA. And I'm going to get into why this is a problem for the WNBA. A lot of people like to say to me, oh, you hate the WNBA, you don't want it to grow. If you've been here a long time, you know that is not true. I want to change the WNBA because I do want it to be successful, and it's not going to be successful with the product that it puts on the court now. It is not going to be successful with a whole lot of unlikable players. It is not going to be successful with constantly missing layups. It's not going to be successful with piss poor officiating. It is not going to be successful focusing on this stuff instead of performance. And if you think that means I don't want it to be successful, you might want to look into the mirror, because now we have Activist, the Chicago Sky reporter. The WNBA has no black women in head coaching positions for the first time since 2020, not that long ago, after the Storm's decision not to renew Noelle Quinn's contract. She was the first fired this offseason, but where do other franchises stand on coaching changes? Now, again, this was actually put out right before Sandy Brundell was fired. As you notice, it's not just focusing on women, but specific women. And here's Andy Singh. WNBA has no black women head coaches after Seattle fires Noelle Quinn. Now, some might argue that Noelle Quinn kept her job longer than other coaches might have because there has been, smoke in Seattle with regards to issues in the locker room and how she has treated certain players. And notice the subhead here, Quinn could end up being the only coach fired in this cycle. Well, that didn't last long because Sandy Brundello, who has had a long track record of success, who won a championship with the New York Liberty just last season and led them to the playoffs again this season, has been fired. But of course, she doesn't fit the mold of where they're going here, so they're not emphasizing her as much. But yeah, so Annie, we've got this whole thing with Annie here about this. We have the Seattle Storm said Sunday they were not renewing Coach Noelle Quinn's contract, making her the first and potentially only WNBA coach fired this offseason. Again, clearly didn't happen since the coach of the defending champ New York Liberty got fired. The Storm lost to the Aces in the first round 2-1 on September 18th, concluding Quinn's tenure in Seattle with a 97-89 record, 4 postseason appearances in 5 seasons. The move currently leaves the WNBA without a black woman head coach for the first time since 2020. Again, not that long ago. Again, the women are what percent of the population? 7% of the population. There are 3 open jobs as of Monday, now 4. Seattle and the 2 expansion teams in Toronto and Portland, and of course the New York Liberty. There are two black coaches in the league, the Chicago Sky's Tyler Marsh and Washington Mystics Sidney Johnson. Both are men. So again, we're going back to this complete and utter nonsense, folks. We have got to stop this. We have got to stop this. Let's flip it around because we're going to get this in, again, this is why I said campaign narrative from the media. I don't mean political campaigns, but the narrative of wanting to direct who the coaches are that are going to get hired now, put pressure on the WNBA to make sure they hire the right coach. And by right coach, of course, we mean how they look, not whether they're actually qualified, which again is a problem. It doesn't help anyone because now when you look at a coach, if they're not a male of a certain persuasion, you think, well, how did they get the job? Why did they get the job? Are they qualified for the job? And that is a terrible thing to think, especially if they are. How would you like to be qualified for the job, but a lot of people wonder if you are or not because of how you look? That sucks. I don't think anybody wants to go through that. But again, here we go. Dear WNBA, these black female coaches should be top candidates for your open jobs. The league has no African American women at the helm of any of its 13 teams. There are 13 teams in the league. This is what we do, and this is what the WNBA always does, and this is one of the things that prevents it from taking that next step. I always say, when we talk about stuff like this, caveat it always, of course, is going to go back to the product on the court. That has to elevate the most. That is ultimately the biggest thing. But when you are constantly doing stuff like this, when you have likability issues and activism issues with players like Natasha Cloud and what she said about Sophie Cunningham, she actually said on video because Sophie voted, apparently. I've never heard Sophie come out and say any of this. You can let me know in the comments below. But apparently, she voted different than Natasha Cloud. According to Natasha Cloud, that means Sophie Cunningham is okay with Natasha Cloud being unalived, which is absolutely insane. I mean, that is lunatic behavior. That is maybe go check yourself in to an institution behavior. When you've got Alyssa Thomas and the stuff she said about the Fever fans, and Angel Reese and the stuff she says about the Fever fans, and the behavior of Dewana Bonner and Asia, it's always about victimization. Whistle Wilson. Man, people don't want this crap because again, and I got distracted. I meant to flip it back the other way because I think it's this article that gets into it. Yeah. The WNBA is still a majority black league in 2023. 60.8% of the players um, identified. Identified. Oh my God. Anyway, so okay, no fans. And we can get away from the WNBA thing, right? Let's look at the NBA because the WNBA is not successful, doesn't have fans, and people can say, oh, well, that's why. Well, no, look at the NBA. No one gives a crap, man. No one cares. They want to see the best players, period. That is how it should be. The sports have been the last place where it is. And again, this is why I say it's not a political issue because people who say they're Democrats or liberals, people who say they're conservatives or Republicans, they they all love their teams and they all root for their teams and none of them give a crap what the players look like. If they're white and screwing up, they're not good enough. They want them gone. If they're black and screwing up, they're not good enough. They want them gone. If they're white and great, they want to keep them. If they're black and great, they want to keep them. Isn't that how it should be? Isn't that what we all want it to be? I don't understand why we have to continually do this kind of victim crap. It doesn't help anyone. All it does is divide people. All it does is then when you go and see hires, you say, why are they there? Is it legit? Are they there for a legit reason? I don't know that they are. But as you can see, this is Anscape. Someone said the other day, wow, I didn't even know that was still in existence. So I don't know that it makes money. It's an ESPN thing. They keep pouring money into it. But we've got, right, this is Anscape. Then we've got Front Office Sports with anti-activists doing it. And then we've got Roberta Rodriguez, who supposedly, you can't see it there. We have to go over to the right because Roberta has me blocked. Supposedly a women's basketball reporter, founder of Beta Basket, whatever that is, has actually written at Forbes, supposedly. I don't know what Beta Basket is. Okay, it's in I think she's from Brazil, and that's in Spanish. But anyway, so here's what we're going to deal with now the offseason. We're going to have all of the nonsense with the CBA. And then now we're also going to have this. And of course, all of these teams are going to feel pressured in terms of who they interview and then who they hire because they're going to get backlash. It's clearly set up by the media. Boom, boom, boom. These are three stories within this, I believe, past week, all covering the same angle about the coaching in the WNBA. So if one of these teams who needs a coach, if they've got somebody who is, I don't know, they've got, hey, maybe Mark Jackson decides he wants to come back. He wants to give the WNBA a shot. Maybe Larry Bird decides he wants to give the WNBA a shot. Teams might be hesitant to hire them despite their track record because, well, no, we got to go get someone who's maybe not all that good, but we don't want the media heat about all the nonsense. It's absolutely wild. So keep an eye on how the coaching situation develops in the WNBA in the offseason as well. That's going to be a big deal. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out this video. As always, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, help us keep growing, help us keep going. We will continue to cover the WNBA. We will continue to college women's basketball is starting up soon. We are going to continue growing the channel. Hopefully you'll stick around. I do appreciate it. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.